International. I'm Nancy Godi Angonihu, and I have with me Bukumi Adejumo, the interpreter. First, the headlines. International Women's Day. Key players re-echo resounding voices of freedom and equality for all. President Buhari's Chief of Staff, Senior Aides, Secretary to Government of the Federation and PTF on COVID-19 team receive vaccine. And INEC chairman meets resident electoral commissioners ahead of 2023 elections. And we begin with gender affairs. President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates West Nigerian women as they celebrate the International Women's Day, describing them as the bedrock of society. In a release signed by the Special Advisor to the President, Media and Publicity, President Muhammadu Buhari notes that the theme of the 2021 celebration, Choose to Challenge, is quite apt, while he rejoices with the women folk and restates his administration's commitment to addressing the multifarious challenges confronting them at various levels of society, with 7 female ministers and 2 of them heading strategic ministries of finance, budget and national planning, and humanitarian affairs, disaster management and social development, in addition to scores more in charge of key parastatals and agencies, as well as serving as presidential aides. President Muhammadu Buhari applauds their contributions to the successes recorded by the administration. The president pledges further support towards female gender inclusiveness in all sectors of national life, stressing that women are key to a happy and stable family, society and nation. He condemns all forms of gender-based discriminations, abuse, harassment and violence targeted especially at the female folk at work, places, schools, community and national levels. President Buhari wishes all Nigerian women joyous and memorable 2021 International Women's Day celebration. And the world has seen a rollback in the hard-won advances in women's rights. Now is the time to build an equal future, which is the job for everyone, for the benefit of everyone. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said this as the world marks 2021 International Women's Day. Debola Brooksley Sunday reports.
Women, many agree, are essential workers that are keeping people alive and holding economies, communities and families together. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said they are among the leaders who have kept prevalence rates lower and countries on track for recovery from COVID-19. He said this year's International Women's Day is dedicated to highlight the transformative power of women's equal participation in nation building.
Pandemic recovery is our chance to leave behind generations of exclusion and inequalities. Mothers, especially single mothers, have faced acute anxiety and adversity. The consequences will far outlast the pandemic. Gender equality is essentially a question of power, and males are an essential part of the solution.
Meanwhile, a new analysis released on the International Women's Day by the International Children's Emergency Fund of the United Nations, UNICEF, highlighted the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on efforts to fight child marriage in the world, expressing the fear that 10 million additional child marriages may occur before the end of the decade.
On this International Women's Day, let's be inspired by their determination. Let's expand investments and training programs that help more girls take control over their lives and futures. Let's stand with them today to build the girl force of tomorrow.
The UN agency recommended immediate action to mitigate the toll on girls and their families by implementing effective laws and policies such as sexual and reproductive health services and comprehensive social protection measures for families. Adebola Brooksley Sunday, NTAi News.
Of course, there is no gainsaying the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic pushed the world to exploring the best of human resources to survive the virus. And women, comprising 70% of global health workforce, were on the front line. With the success of their contribution to combating the pandemic and as the world celebrates women, Speaker ECOWAS Parliament Sidi Mohamed Tunis wants a new thinking which will consider how far the world would have become if women had been in leadership as much as men. Unengiye Fineface reports.
ECOWAS Parliament Amazons, comprising female members of staff and parliamentarians, are making the best of the day as they join the campaign for 2021 International Women's Day, which is Choose to Challenge. Now, this campaign, they say, goes beyond the recurrent mantra for gender equality. Rather, it is a wake-up call for women to challenge existing status quo that inhibits them from achieving their dreams, and in so doing, cause the change needed to give them a pride of place in all human endeavors.
That women possess strong magic that can change the world. The woman is everything, in the home, in the office, in the world. Without the women, there is no world.
Speaker Sidi Mohamed Tunis believes that years after the establishment of the ECOWAS Parliament, the region can now brace for the emergence of a female speaker who will be given the needed support by all citizens. ECOWAS Parliament, he said, has been in support of the affirmation policy, which requires minimum of 30% female representatives.
Article 63 of the ECOWAS Treaty on Women and Development calls on the member states to formulate, harmonize, coordinate, and establish appropriate policies and mechanisms for the enhancement of the economic, social, and cultural conditions of women.
In celebrating women this year, ECOWAS Parliament is encouraging member states to implement the 30% affirmative action on female representation to further boost their participation in leadership. In Abuja, Onengiye Fineface, NTAi News.
And lending his voice, Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyeama joins the global community to celebrate the role women play in development. In a message marking the International Women's Day, the minister applauded their leadership, vision, courage, and tenacity in making the world a better place. He particularly celebrated women at the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, who have been leading the coordination of response activities, expansion of laboratory services, and efforts to ensure continuity of the economy.
I join the global community to celebrate the remarkable roles that women play in all spheres of development. Mrs. Mba represents the thousands of Nigerian women working across states in laboratories, at health facilities, and at other settings to protect our health security.
The minister wishes all girls and women worldwide a happy International Women's Day, as the world is a better place because of the roles played by women. The euphoria of March 8th of every year, a day set aside to celebrate women, is in the air again. This year's celebration provides an ample opportunity to reflect on how President Muhammadu Buhari honors the women folk. Here is a checklist of the women in the present administration, as outlined in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina. Elizabeth Omori reports.
The global celebration of International Women's Day highlights the economic, social, and political advances made by women and girls all over the world, recognizing the critical role of women in governance structures, security, and peace-building efforts, as well as in all aspects of life. President Muhammadu Buhari, since inception, has given priority to women participation in his government. At the moment, there are 7 women ministers holding sensitive ministries and working assiduously towards socio-economic development of Nigeria. Women remain a galvanizing force and continue to provide support for the men in all areas of development. The economy of Nigeria that is receiving such a boost now is headed by a woman, Zainab Ahmed, who combines finance with budget and national planning. The head of the civil service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson, is leading the engine room of governance, supported by many women, special advisors, and senior special assistants and special assistants in the presidency. The president did Nigerian women proud, addressing the challenges threatening the efforts to promote the empowerment of women, gender equality, and balance in all aspects of national life. This is manifest in the large number of women chief executives heading various organizations and agencies of government. Even though the 8th of March is the day set aside by the United Nations for this celebration, every nation is enjoined globally to observe the day and draw a locally relevant theme from the main international theme. The international theme is Choose to Challenge. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTAi News.
And elsewhere in the U.S., women marched through New York City demanding short working hours, better pay and rights to vote 15,000 years ago, I beg your pardon. This made the United Nations General Assembly to set aside March 8 annually to commemorate the International Women's Day. Hawa Gimba takes a look at the journey so far since 1911.
Around the world, women are given the opportunity to celebrate their achievements with a view to chanting a cause for greater equality, which is celebrated every 8th of March. The first International Women's Day was held in 1911. Thousands of events were marked to bring to the fore the economic, political, and social achievements of women around the world.
If Nigeria will give women the opportunity to come out and exhibit what God has deposited in them naturally, I believe Nigeria will go a long way.
Nigerian women, we are very enterprising, hardworking. In terms of decision making, if we are there, we make our own input.
The International Women's Day is an opportunity to raise awareness around gender equality and equal participation at workplaces and in the society.
It's important that we continue to play our role either from inside the homes or out. From wherever we are, we have a lot to contribute to nation building. We must also continue to emphasize on the need for the girl-child education.
This year's International Women's Day is the 65th session of the Commission. Hawa Gimba, NTAi News.
And to speak more on the International Women's Day celebration is the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Tallinn. Honorable Minister Ma, you're welcome to NTAi International News.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
Now, the theme of this year's celebration is Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. What would you make of this and how apt is it?
Thank you very much. The theme of this year's celebration is quite apt. I therefore want to start by congratulating all Nigerian women on this special day that is set aside to celebrate women all over the world, to also look at issues affecting women and to challenge some of the issues affecting women, as the hashtag for this year is I Challenge. Nigerian women have worked so hard, they've toiled so hard, and they deserve more. But I want to start by thanking Mr. President for the opportunity given to 7 female ministers and so many chief executives, senior special assistants that are women, and they are doing exceptionally well to contribute their quota in national development. As we appreciate Mr. President, we are like Oliver Twist asking for more because Nigerian women deserve more. And we've pledged to keep doing our best to contribute towards national development. Nigerian women are calling for peace. We say no to the adoption of our children and for the security challenges affecting Nigeria. We are calling for peace because without peace, the president and all those in position of authority cannot do much. This year's celebration calls for women to assess and see where we are going, and what we want to achieve in the next few years, especially come 2023.
Honorable Minister Ma, you've said that President Buhari has actually laced his administration with women. Can you tell us what is the Act for Equal campaign all about?
Well, we are advocating and appealing for gender equality. Gender equality is for us to have equal share in national development, equal participation in governance, equal participation in all spheres of life in nation building. Take, for example, the challenges facing the world. Women contribute significantly high towards the caregiving and support for COVID-19. We acknowledge all caregivers and all our women that are working out there as health workers to support the challenges of COVID-19. That's not being mind, looking at other contributions that women have done.
So you're making more campaign for
yes,
women.
We are asking for more, and we are demanding for more because they deserve it.
And now there is a group of women in society, the widows.
Yes.
Widows are facing various challenges. What do you think should be done to help them as the International Women's Day is being celebrated today?
The widows are a special group that is very dear to my heart. Widows and orphans need more support. Mr. President has tried, because the Rural Women Support Empowerment Program, we give more to the widows and the vulnerable women among us. However, we still need more because the demand is quite high, and looking at the contributions women do to bring up and support their families, they definitely need more. So Mr. President's attention has been called to it, and he has assured us that he will lend more support in this area.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister for Women Affairs, for coming to NTAi International.
Thank you.
We take a break now. The news continues in just a moment. And now on the political scene, President Muhammadu Buhari has described as gladdening the fact that just concluded election in the Republic of Niger went well. This was while exchanging views with the former Vice President of Nigeria, Namadi Sambo. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The former Vice President of Nigeria, Muhammad Namadi Sambo, led the ECOWAS mission on election in the Republic of Niger. He is here to present the report on the elections to President Muhammadu Buhari. The president said with Nigeria sharing more than 1,400 kilometers of border with the Republic of Niger, it should be concerned about the stability of the neighboring country. He expressed delight that the elections went well and are judged transparent by most of the observers. President Buhari congratulated Mr. Namadi Sambo and his team for a job well done, saying he was glad that they came back with good news. The ECOWAS head of mission, Mr. Namadi Sambo, had told the president that he met with all the stakeholders before the polls, which went into a runoff after the initial exercise in December last year was inconclusive. The team, he said, monitored the exercise in about 400 polling units across the 5 regions of the country, and the process was not only peaceful but also done professionally. The former Vice President of Nigeria said every citizen of Niger was given the right to vote and be voted for. He said the conduct of the exercise was a great improvement over the previous one and thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for his tremendous support to the ECOWAS mission. The candidate of the ruling party, Muhammad Bazoum, was announced winner by the electoral body, having won more than 50% of the votes cast, a decision disputed by the opposition candidate, Maman Usman, who approached the Constitutional Court for redress. The Nigerian constitution gives the court the powers to decide who succeeds the outgoing president, Muhammadu Isufu. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTAi News.
And more strategic leaders in the country have continued to present themselves for vaccination against COVID-19 pandemic. The latest to receive the jab was the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The public vaccination of strategic leaders against COVID-19 is aimed at reassuring Nigerians of the safety and efficacy of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, which arrived in Nigeria last week. The Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, took his jab and was later presented his e-vaccination card by the Chief Medical Director of the State House Medical Center, Dr. Munir Hussain. The chairman, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, retired General Muhammad Buwa Marwa, and the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, were vaccinated by the chief nursing officer of the State House Clinic, Esther Ibrahim. Speaking shortly after, Professor Ibrahim Gambari said his vaccination was to follow the footsteps of President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who demonstrated leadership by receiving their jabs on Saturday.
All eligible Nigerians should take this vaccine. It is safe and it is painless, and the benefit is immense because it's not just for the individual, but the more Nigerians that are vaccinated, the more we develop the herd immunity, which will keep our country safe and our people healthy.
The vaccine is efficacious and it is safe. We need to safeguard our population. We need to safeguard the health of Nigerians. Mr. President has provided sufficient leadership for us. Today, the Chief of Staff is building on that foundation.
I would like to say to all Nigerians, take this vaccine. It's for the good. With this vaccine, by the grace of God, before long, the whole country will be COVID-19 free.
The federal government had on Saturday last week hinted that getting COVID-19 vaccination could become a requirement for all international passengers as the fight against the global pandemic gathers steam. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTAi News.
Members of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 have taken their first shot of the COVID-19 vaccine, led by the chairman of the task force and the secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. The exercise, which was telecast live on national television, the chairman says the presidency has put in place a well-coordinated platform for the presentation and vaccination processes, and Nigeria targets 70% of the population by the year 2022.
That in this war, we are all involved in this because nobody is safe until everybody is safe.
Other members of the committee informed the COVID-19 vaccine is being transported to all states of the Federation, and there's no difference between the vaccine given to the president and the ones given to other Nigerians.
States, LGs, and critical stakeholders, the Presidential Task Force will be conducting zonal town hall meetings where there will be an open and transparent discussion about vaccine hesitancy and other aspects of the COVID-19 response.
Media, CSOs, and other stakeholders in the health sector are urged to increase the awareness and public enlightenment campaign on COVID-19 vaccine. Now, 2023 general elections must be different from all previous elections in terms of preparations. These were the exact words from the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, as he meets resident electoral commissioners to finalize preparations for the resumption of the continuous voters registration exercise and more polling units. Mia Ogidi reports.
Shuttling to settle a protracted electoral challenge, pushing for more polling units. Dialogue is more interesting than monologue, so stakeholders' meetings were held on the subject. Now, the INEC chair sits with his lieutenants, the state resident electoral commissioners, to finalize this discussion and also to resume the continuous voters registration exercise. And what are some of the benefits?
Those who wish to replace their lost or damaged PVCs, as well as those who are already registered, but who may wish to apply for transfer of their registration from one location to another, will be able to do so as provided by law.
Submit inventory of all election materials. No excuses in 2023, because the election is not just about the direction of the country, but also the identity, the INEC chair tells his men.
The 2023 general election must be different from all previous elections in terms of our preparations and readiness. I welcome all recs to this meeting as we go into the working session.
Journalists are not part of the working session, so we off our pens. Mie Ogede, NT News.
Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is 64, and so President Muhammadu Buhari and other personalities are identified with him for the accomplishments in his life. Here is the compilation of goodwill messages from well-wishers.
President Muhammadu Buhari described Vice President Yemi Osinbajo as a reliable and dedicated deputy who is not only admirably competent but also exudes confidence and passion in the performance of his job. As the Vice President turns 64, President Buhari said he is proud to have selected Osinbajo as his running mate, and he has given a good account of himself since their journey began in 2015. According to the president, the vice president is a cool-headed gentleman who puts the interests of Nigeria above other narrow considerations. President Buhari also noted that Vice President Osinbajo is an incredibly patient politician who demonstrates remarkable intellectual and mental energy in the discharge of his duties. And the President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, also in a statement celebrates what he calls an erudite lawyer, intellectual giant, respected religious leader, and distinguished administrator in the person of Vice President Osinbajo. He prays that God Almighty will continue to imbue him with wisdom and good health as he ably supports President Muhammadu Buhari in their patriotic mission to transform Nigeria and unite its people in happiness and prosperity. Also, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, said Osinbajo has been a patriot and democrat whose services to his fatherland have been commendable, particularly since he became the Vice President in 2015. He noted that the VP has for many decades dedicated himself to serving humanity as a lawyer, teacher, clergy, and a politician of repute. Gbajabiamila recalled the fond memories of Professor Osinbajo's laudable contributions to the development of Lagos State when the VP served as the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice for 8 years, from 1999 to 2007. In the meantime, APC national leader Bola Ahmed Tinubu joined the family, friends and associates of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on his birthday, praying for many more productive years and the best of health for the Vice President. Tinubu said the VP has exemplified the best traits of a public servant who strives to do his best for the nation.
And that's it on the news. On behalf of Bukumi Adejumo, the interpreter, I'm Nancy Godiangonihu, thanking you for watching. Remember to always connect with the NTAi and stand against rape and rapists. Bye for now.